Okay, let's begin with the flash screen here. There's one of three screens. We have the flash screen, the modeling screen, and the setup screens. The only three main screens that we have as you go around the horn with your joystick. And this is set up on light number 3, as you can see right here at the bottom left corner. And I can move my channels by left or right motions with the left joystick here, or I can move up and down in power of a selected light, which is light 3 right now. This is also in the meter mode, as well as the flash screen modes. We can actually do metering here, and we'll be talking about how to use this for metering later on. We can refresh the wireless settings here and get a new reading by just pressing the right joystick up. Again, the menu's on the lower bottom down here. Now, the next row up above that says I have main light right here, and it's an Alien Bee 400. Well, main light isn't what this is. Actually a hair light in my setup, so I need to go into the setup screens, and we'll be looking at that as well, how to change the names and specify what you want them to be. But anyways, this is an Alien Bee 400, so I had selected that when in the setup for the light, and so it displays correctly for light number 3. You can see it's light number 3 here by this little green indicator. So now I'm going to switch up to the top up here and take a look at light 3. And the flash meter is set up at ISO 200 in the flash meter settings, and my shutter speed or sync speed in there that was available was 1/250th, or one stop below that, 1/25th, and 1/250th was a lot closer to what my camera can do, which is up to 200, so I had to choose something in between. So it's metering a little bit different than my lights, but it's pretty close, and I can make a few adjustments in tenths of a stop if I need to do that. So once I've metered, this light was showing 11.7, so 7/10 higher than f11, and so that's a pretty bright light up in there if I'm shooting at f8, but I might want it to be above the main lights. So that is what that's reading once I metered. Otherwise, there might be nothing there if you haven't metered yet. It shows that this light is on channel 3. And then up at the right, we're seeing that this is 5450K Kelvin number here on the light color. And because I'm usually in color mode, I like to have this fixed, and sometimes I'm switching in the Einsteins to action mode, and this might vary with each time I meter because it's not guaranteed to have the same color, but it's actually going to give you faster speed, which is the next one we're looking right below that. Is this light is right now 1/1525 of a second. 1,525 of a second here is the T1 speed of this particular light. So T1 is my number that I like to look at, not T5. If you remember, T5 is when the light comes up to 50%, peaks out and comes back to 50%. T1 is 10%, so when the light gets up to 10% and then goes over the peak and comes back to 10%, that's the flash duration I'm more interested in, that the camera is more likely to see, depending on my ISO settings, my aperture settings, and how sensitive everything is. But anytime you get below 10%, you're probably not going to see it. So this number means a lot more to me than the use of the T5. So below that, we have the flash here. This is showing 40 watt seconds, an EU number 2.7, and a -2 is the relative f-stops below full power. So we're at 2 f-stops below full power for this light right now, the -2. If it said -1, it would be 1 f-stop. This number here is related to a European standard for lights at 6400, all available power would be a 10, so 6,400 watts. So we're at 2.7, so we could say that we're 8 stops below that, because each number you block 9, go down 9, 8, 7, 6, down to 2. So we're 2.7 here, or 2 down there, 8 stops below, plus a bit back to 7/10 up. So we're right up almost close to 7 stops below full power, just a few tenths below that. So this is much more accurate than looking at watt seconds, because you might have mixed units in your setup. Like I have some Alien Bs and I have some Einsteins, and they're all different wattage ratings. So this is going to show me in relationship to that full power rating of 6400 watts where I am in relationship, and each light will have that. So that's a better number to look at here and giving you an idea how much more power you might be able to get out of this unit. The modeling lamp below here is 150 watt, and it has no rating below. It's even here, so I probably have this set to full power right now in coming out of it, and that's okay. That's what I've got it set to. I could make adjustments to that. So you have a lot of information on this screen here. Let me go ahead and switch over here to the next one. I'm going to go on up here to light number 2 here. I'm going to go ahead and change this to full screen here so we don't have any distractions here for a moment. Yeah, that's not actually going to work because we're going to lose my cursor here. So I'm going to escape out of there and go back. I want to keep my cursor so we can point at things. So light number 2 down here in the lower left, everything's the same. We've got a lot of information here. We've got Einstein 640 watt second light. That's light number 2. You can see the green indicator showing that that's the light selected currently. We go up to the top. Our flash meter settings haven't changed. This light's metering at f4.5, 0.5 tenths here. It's not really a main light. Again, I haven't specified that in the menu yet. This light is sitting at 6209K. So I'm probably in action mode with this light at this time, so it's not going to stay true at, like, say, 5500K as I might with having it in constant color mode. But look at the speed I'm getting now out of this light at 1/7000th, 121 at T1. So that's a pretty fast shutter speed. I can freeze motion with that quite easily. Liquid splashes, powder flying, a model jumping or dancing, a ballet dancer, whatever I have in the studio. That's a really high number. So, but I'm also down here at f4 with the light. And again, how far away is the light from your subject? That's a whole nother thing here. This light is on channel 2. We can see that down here at the bottom with the green. And we've got 65 watt seconds and 3.4. So its available power actually has a lot more because we're at minus 3.3 from available full power. And our modeling lamp is showing 25 watts. I think I have some smaller portable lights in there now that I take in the field when they're plugged in to the battery packs, and I have not switched them back out yet to the larger lamp, so it's showing a lower wattage here. But there's still some more available light could come out of these. I generally have these tracking to the light so that the model lamps will follow the thing and give me a relative look of the light on the subject, but that's all a choice. Some people like to have them up full. They can look at everything and they take a shot. I like tracking. So you have lots of choices. So let's move on up the light here. The last one, this is light number 1. Again, it's a 640. It's still calling it main light. Again, I haven't changed that. You can see a green indicator on 1. Go up here. We see it's metering at f8 at where I was standing with that. I'm 6181, so it's a little closer to light number 2 in its K number. So I'm on action mode. You can see I'm up here at 6744, a second for T1. Down here again, I have that small modeling lamp in there. So that's what goes on these screens. If we go to the next one, which is just all, let me get back up here, you'll notice that we've lost a lot of information up here. There's nothing showing at the moment. We're now showing these 2 rows are gone. We have bracket flash because now if I move the power settings right here up or down, I'm going to move all 3 lights. Or if you had you can see all 16 channels here are selected, and if there's lights on them, they would all move in unison evenly for each bump of the joystick up or down. I'm going to go 1/10 of a stop. So if I want a full stop, I got to bump it 10 times. Nice fine control. You can hear that in an audible beep the way I have things set up, so I know when things are moving. and I can push the button to dump the power if I want to. So in this screen, if I take a meter on all, I'm going to get a meter reading up here for an f-stop for all the lights. It's relative. Obviously, if you have a hair light and the model's in the way, you're not going to see that necessarily. But if you held this meter up in front of the model's chin, then bang, and you took a shot, you're going to get what's hitting the front of her. And this will show you bracketing up and down. Now, bracketing we're going to talk more about later on, but it is a way that you can shoot it even, and then you might pop this up a half a stop or down a half a stop and take another shot, and you can move all the lights in a bracket to what you had metered for 0, and you can shoot them at different levels here. So that's the basic flash screen. We're going to come back in another video and talk about this middle section here and what all these little candles mean, because that's a whole conversation in itself and what they're going to tell you. So that's the flash screen. We're going to probably go next to the modeling screen and talk about that, and we'll come back to the candles because that's on both screens.